Academy. My name is Napoleon Wayne, and in this video we're going to be talking about Microsoft Word interface. This is a continuation of the previous video, so ultimately this is part 2 of the Microsoft Word interface. If you haven't seen the part 1 of the Microsoft Word interface, the link is right here in the details of this video. Go check on it. Make sure you watch that first before you start with this one, because in this video we're talking about the File tab. We're going straight to the File tab. So quickly, let's check again the content of this video from the previous one. In the content of the previous video, we talked about the meaning, the launching of Microsoft Word, the bars, tab, segment and tools, editing, saving, and general functions. Now we're able to take care of the meaning, we're able to talk about the launching also, but today we're going to be talking about the bars and the tabs. We did a little bit of the bars in the last video, so if you haven't seen that, please make sure you check the last video. The link is right here in the details of this video. So basically we're going to be talking about the tabs majorly today, and without further ado, let's jump into today's details. Here we are on my desktop where I had saved this document we worked on the last time as Microsoft Word interface. You can see right here on my desktop. So the only thing I need to do right now is to click on this file here as Microsoft Word, and then it loads up and my document comes up. So back into Microsoft Word where we left off the last time. As you can see, we have most of our list from the beginning, which is Microsoft Word, the title of our document, which is the essence of these videos in different parts. The first thing we talked about is how to launch Microsoft Word. We outlined the steps. Click on Windows button to open a dialog box, click on Microsoft Word, blah blah blah. The first thing we talked about was launching Microsoft Word, and we went ahead to outline the steps. Then we made a list, we created a blank document, after which we talked about Microsoft Word interface itself, starting with the logo to my upper left corner here, and then auto save, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, till we get to taskbar. But before we get to taskbar, today we'll be talking about the tabs bar. So we are done talking about the first bar, which is from this point to the other end of the screen here. And having talked about that, the next thing in line is to talk about the tabs bar, which is the second bar in line after the title bar. The first thing on the tabs bar is the File tab. As you can see written here is the tabs bar before we go to the tools. So the first thing under the tabs bar, the first tab, is the File tab. So let's go ahead and quickly add our File tab to the document, which is going to be under the tabs bar. Under the File tab, we have a couple of tools which we'll be checking out very soon. Let's mouse over our File tab and see some of the tools we have there. As soon as I mouse over and click on the File tab, this page opens, making it look like we're going back to the starting of our document the way it was from the beginning when we freshly started our document. But we are not going to any beginning. We're just trying to make sure that we make the best use of the tools under the File tab. Just like every other tab, the File tab has some tools and segments underneath it. In this case, we have one segment here, as you can see, ranging from the Home tool, which is a ribbon, to the Open tool, or the Open ribbon. Each of these segments are demarcated by these tiny lines, as you can see up here. If you come down below here, you can see another line separating this segment from this segment. But let's start off from the Home segment. Here we are on our home, on our first segment, which is showing just a blank document if you want to start a new document, and a couple of templates arranged horizontally this time. And then beneath that, you can see our search bar. If we want to directly search for a particular document we had earlier worked on, you can just mouse over, click, and then search for it, and it brings it out automatically. Beneath that is a list of documents that you have just recently worked on, and all of these lists are recent. To the right of that are the pinned documents you may have pinned to the top or to anywhere for you to see easily. And then just next to it is shared with me. If any document had been earlier shared with you via internet, via any other storage, you'll be seen here. But here we don't have any document under shared with me, and we don't have any under pinned. So let's go back to our recent document. Under our recent document, we can see that Microsoft Word interface is the top on the list, because that is the document we're currently working on. So basically all we need to do is to just mouse over the document, double click on it, and then it takes us to that document. If I double click on this one, it takes me back to the one I am currently working on. If I come back to my file tab, the next tool there is the new. In this new document, we can have a blank document and then a bunch of other templates that we can jump in and work on to make our work easier, just like we're starting a new document as we did from the beginning. Also, we have a search bar here. We can easily search for online templates for us to work with. Let's assume I want to do calendar, and then I type calendar and hit enter on my keyboard. The system searches for calendar templates, then brings this up for me. So if calendar template was never on my list before, now I have a bunch of calendar templates I can easily choose from. So I really don't need to go and create the calendar all by myself, going through the stress. I can just choose from any of these calendar, go in, set my dates, my time and schedules, and then I'm done. Alright, so let's go back to our initial our initial new page. Now, having said that, that's the list of the things we have under the new, just like we're starting a new document. Also, we'll mouse to open, and then we see the list of things we have under open. We can only open a document that it has. Here are the things we can see under open. To the left of the panel here, we have recent, we have files needing attention, we have the ones that have been shared with us via any means, we have the ones on OneDrive personal, on this OneDrive personal storage, and then we have the one on our PC. We have add a place, we have browse any of the folders. Maybe we had earlier saved something in the folder that we need to browse and check in. We can also go ahead and search just similar to the home and the new tab and the new tool. These are the documents we can actually open we have on our system, both directly on the PC and the one that are saved in other folders. We can go and search by folder if we know the exact folder in which our document had been saved. So this is a bunch of things we can actually make use of to make our work easy and fast. Before we jump into the next segment, let's go back and add these tools to our file tab. Under our file tab now, we have home, new, and open. Let's go back to our file tab to see the rest of the tools. The next segment here says get ads in. The get ads in tool is a wonderful tool you might want to use. This serves as an extension, a third-party extension for you to bring in some other things that you think are awesome on those third-party softwares. Need I say here that in most cases, some of the wonderful tools under the file tab may not be harnessed until we're done working on our document. You can choose to do that anytime while you're working in your own document, but for the purpose of this video, I want us to reach the end of the video before we start doing before we cross the T's and dot the I's. So the get ads in is done, and then we go to the info. The info tool here talks about everything about this document we're working on. You can see here it says upload, share, copy part, copy local part, and then open file location. Underneath that is a bunch of other things we can do to protect our document. The first thing here is protect the document. Let's mouse over click and then see a list of things or ways we can protect our document. So for this case, this is an option that helps us take proper care so that we don't accidentally edit anything. So as soon as you open the document, the first thing that happens is the document opens as a document that cannot be edited. So there is no chance for accidental changes or anything that can happen to the documents without your knowledge. Also, the next one is encrypt with password. You can encrypt your document with password in order to avoid strangers from accessing your document or people copying or duplicating the content of your document. You can also restrict editing. You can decide the kind of editing you want a third party or another person to do on your document. You can restrict access totally until you give a password or a permission to someone else to use your document. They may not be able to get access to it. You can add a digital signature. Most of these things are used, but we never knew all of these functions were on Microsoft Word. As soon as we get to all of this point, or as soon as we're done working on our document and making it look good, we'll come back to all of these ones and then make the best use of them. You can also mark your document as final. When we're done with the document, like I said earlier, we will mark it as final and we'll see the function. To the left of all of this information is the properties of this document. But before we talk about the properties, let's go ahead and see the other other things we can do to our document. Under this information, we can check for issues. Before publishing our document, we can spell check, we can check for properties, author's name, and every other thing. We can go back to the previous version of our document. Take for instance, we had earlier worked on a particular document and we decided to add up new changes. But in adding up new changes, we discovered that the changes were not necessary or were not good enough. We can easily come here and return to the saved older version of our document. Also, we can manage our document here by using our auto recovery. You can see a time lapse here reading 8:35 a.m. Take for instance, the system suddenly goes off as a result of power outbreak, as a result of power disconnection, or any other issue. Over time, we can come back here and see our several auto recovery at different times and go back to the one we feel is best for us to continue with. Having said all of this, let's move now to this side of the panel and see the properties of this document. On this document is a total size of 12.6 kilobytes, just 2 pages, 111 words. Total editing time is 45 minutes. Title is, we don't have a title yet, we'll get to do that. Tags, we don't have a tag yet. Comments, we don't have comments yet. Related dates, last modified was today, 8:24 a.m. This is created on this date, and all of these informations are just basically for this particular document. The author is Napoleon Wayne, that's my name, and last modified was still by me. If someone else had modified this document with another authorization, definitely it will show up here. So let's go back now and see, and I think that's all for our info 2 under our file tab. The next 2 under our file tab in the second segment is our save. Now notice what happens to my document as soon as I hit on the save tool. As soon as I hit on the save tool, it just brings me back here. Unlike the first time when we wanted to save our document, it brought out the dialog box and asked us to type the name and navigate our way to the location or folder where we want our document saved. Let's go back to our file tab and continue with the tools. If I choose to save as, the software brings me to this platform again in order for me to save with a different name, because I'm saving for the second or another time. If I don't want to save this document with another name, I don't need to use save as. I can only use save as when I'm saving for the first time or I'm saving for another time with a different name. See, but if I hit my save again, it just brings me back to this point, telling me that every changes I had made after the last save had been saved. Now, instead of going back to this point of using the tool under the file tab and going to save, that's a lot of journey to travel. So instead of doing that, I have a shortcut key here where it is under my customize access toolbar. I can just click here and my document is saved. And then on the other hand, I can use my shortcut key, which is Ctrl S. So until we're done with all of this in the second segment of the file tab, we will add up our tools that we have in that segment. Let's go back to our file tab now and see the next tool we have. The next tool we have is a wonderful tool that is also used when we're done working on our document, which is the print tool. If I hit the print tool, this comes up. My system is not currently connected to any printer, so we're likely not to see any printer here. So I'll just click on cancel for it to bring the print page for me. So because the system is not currently connected to any printer, this will remain here until I'm done or until I exit this page. So I'll just drag this down to this point so we can clearly see what is happening to our document. On this print page, the first thing I have is my print button. But before hitting the print button, I must be sure that every other thing is properly set here for me to have the best, or for me to have my document printing the exact way I want it. The first thing here is the number of copies I would want. The number of copies for the total page I would have decided to print. I can just gradually increase the number of copies from here by mousing over this arrow up and then clicking it gradually to any number of copies I want to print. I can come down here and set my printer. If I have 4 or 5 printers, I can choose the printer I want to use at that time. Sometimes people can have just black and white printer, colored printer, some other fax machines, and then they just choose from here what they want it to print through. Clicking here, you can see I have a couple of printers under my list which I had earlier used. This is HP, LaserJet, this is HP, this is colored printer, this is PDF, this is Microsoft XPS, and then this is OneNote. I can go ahead and go into my printer properties and make proper changes like this. The next tool here says print all pages, which is always a default printing directive. If I click on this arrow down, there are a couple of other functions I can make use of. It says print selection is the next one, but nothing is currently selected on my document, so this is not properly highlighted. Print current page, which is the page I'm on right now. We have two pages here. If I move down to the next page, if I click on print current page, it will be printing the second page. I can come here and say customize print, and in customize print I'd have to manually add or input the way I want it printed. I can say I want to print page 3 to 7. The moment I hit on 3-7, you can see that I have 3 to 7 right there. Also, I have this print order of printing either one side or two-sided. Depending on your printer, if I click on this arrow down, you can see print on one side, manually print on both sides. For this manual option, you probably have to go back to the printer, turn the paper upside down, and then click again for it to print on the other side. Also, you can have a printer that is automated. If connected to your system, the option will be there for it to print front and back itself. Next on the list is collated. On this collated tool, the question is, do you want your document collated if you have like 20 pages and you want them collated and you want to print 5 copies? For example, do you want the 20 pages collated as page 1 to 20 first copy, page 1 to 20 second copy, or you want page 1 5 copies first, page 2 5 copies, page 3 5 copies, and then you do the collation yourself, which for me is a lot of work than having it collated. Next, you can have a landscape orientation or have a portrait orientation. Here we have currently a landscape orientation. If I change to portrait orientation, you see my document goes this way, which is portrait. And next to it is the type of printing we want to do. We have a couple of options under here. We have letter, we have small, we have legal, we have statement, executive, A4, A4 small, A5, and the rest of them. The standard of paper we use around here is A4 paper, so I'll just go ahead and click A4 paper. Even if I put it on letter, it's almost the same size. Next to it is the margin. I have very narrow margins. If my text is too small and I want my text in the middle of my document, I'll just come here and increase the margin. We have default settings of margin already readily available for us to choose from. I can choose wide, then my text moves to the middle of the document. Also, the next one is one page per sheet. Do you want one page per sheet, or you want the page to run into each other? You can also go ahead and have a couple of other advanced settings of your page setup here, which is a combination of all of the things you see on this side and a few other tools that are not currently seen here. But I'll just cancel this. We're not ready to print right now, and then when it's time for printing, we'll do all of the page setup when the computer is connected to the printer. Next on our list is share. Don't forget, we're still on our file tab. Under our file tab, the second segment, the share tool helps you to share with other drives. This is OneDrive right here, but this document is not saved on OneDrive. That's why this is popping up. If there were other locations, maybe another OneDrive space, the cloud storage, and other storages, you would have seen them appear here. But currently, the document is saved to my desktop where I moused over to click and have it open this way, and now I want to share with my OneDrive. But for the sake of finishing, because the document is not yet ready and we don't want to share with OneDrive currently, when we finish our document and it's good to go, we'll come back to the file tab and make use of all of these tools over and over again. So let's close this up because we're not sharing with OneDrive. Back to our file tab, the next tool we have here is the export. Now there's a fine line between the share and the export. In the share, we can only share with the storage, but in the export, we can convert our document to different other types of format of document. If you're looking at this export section, you will see underneath the export directly is create PDF XPS document. Also next to it, we have change file type, send document to Kindle, and then to the right of this information panel, we have create PDF XPS document, preserve layer formatting and images. Content can be easily changed, free viewers or viewable on the web. So in this export session, it's just an opportunity for us to convert our document to other formats that can be used elsewhere other than just on our PC. Back to the tools now. We have transform. Under the transform tool, we have the transform tool is a wonderful tool that helps us transform our documents from the local Microsoft Word format to a web readable format. To the extreme right of my panel of my screen here, you can see a couple of options we can actually convert our documents to. Quite a number of other formats and styles we can convert our document to. As soon as we're done with this document, I'm sure you can see that our document is going to turn out powerfully nice by the time we're done with it. Okay, so we're not transforming right now. Let's just go back and see how useful the next tool can be. Back to our file tab again, and the next tool there is close, but we're not ready to close this document, so we obviously can't even click on this at all. Moving on to the next segment under this file tab is our account. But before we do that, let's quickly go and add up those tools in the second segment of our file tab. We have get adding, info save and save as first. I'll just add that up in split seconds. So we're done adding all our tools under the second segment of the file tab. Back to the file tab now. The third segment, which is the last one, is account, feedback and option. Under the account, we have the information containing the account on which this Microsoft Word was installed, other Microsoft Word softwares underneath this account, and some other few information about updates, about Word, and then what is new. You can change or switch the account with which this document will be published from here. The connected service is OneDrive personnel and some few other information. You can manage account, you can switch license, you can update account, and you can add other services. Let's click on this add other services to see the other services you can add. So this is cloud storage, yada, and that's all. The next thing here is feedback. Here is your feedback. Send a smile, send a frown, send a suggestion about this document. This is about the document. So everything underneath this third segment is all about Microsoft Word and its feedback. The third one here, which is the last, is option. This option contains all of the tools we had just talked about and some other tools that are not added under the file tab as seen earlier. To the left of this dialog box are the options we have, and to the right are the details of each options. This is general option for working with Word. Now let's just go through all of these things, read through them and see how useful they can be. Say optimize for best appearance, optimize for compatibility, show mini toolbar on selection, enable live preview, update document content while dragging, collapse the ribbon, automatically collapse the Microsoft search box by default. We can just do some few settings here to make our job easy. This is the username, which is Windows, initial is W, and then there's another option which is display. And this is proving, this is save, language, accessibility, advanced, customize ribbon. You can choose to customize most of the tools up here to our own taste, so we can use them based on our own understanding. There's quick access toolbar here also, as you can see, which we had earlier talked about. These are all the other tools we have under our quick access toolbar. We can make choices, we can choose the one we don't want to see even inside the quick access toolbar. The get adding is also here, and then the trust center. Here we have the last, which is the option, and we're done with our Microsoft Word interface file tab. So let's just go ahead and add in our account, feedback and option, and then we'll be done for today. So after the close, we have account, feedback, options. Thank you for joining me in this video. If you're yet to do that, please like, follow, share, turn on the notification button to stay updated as soon as the next video is uploaded. And in the next video, we'll be talking about the Home tab. The Home tab is one of the most important tabs as far as Microsoft Word interface is concerned. It is loaded with quite a number of tools that we may not be able to make use of except if we learn them properly. A lot of tools that will make our document look so awesome and so good, which is the more reason why we need to talk in-depthly about the Home tab. See you in the next video. If you're yet to do that, like, follow, share, turn on the notification button so you can get to see it as soon as that video is uploaded. I'll see you in the next video.